Brest is one of the oldest cities in Belarus. It just celebrated a 1,000-year anniversary in 2019. To many, it is mainly known as a place with a majestic Soviet-era war memorial constructed on the site of the 1941 battle to commemorate the known and unknown defenders of the Brest Fortress. Brest is a place full of history, and has been linked to Central and Eastern Europe and the ever-changing borders. As a result, in some of its architecture, you can notice a bit of Polish character. However, the Eastern links are also strong, with beautiful Orthodox churches, as well as some very prime examples of Soviet building styles. Of course, it can't be without modern architecture and touch as well. This is the place where the Nachodится River meets the Bug River, a place to enjoy the stroll along the beautiful pedestrian street, and what's more, you will even see a lamplighter in an old uniform, as if transferred from the past in a time machine. And you definitely won't miss numerous interesting street sculptures and green parks in town. Brest is truly a must-see place in Belarus. It is also a historical site for many cultures, as it hosted important historical events, such as the Union of Brest and Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Furthermore, the Brest Fortress was recognized by the Soviet Union as a hero fortress in honor of the defense of Brest Fortress in June 1941. Brest is a city with a long and complex history, and at different times it has been part of different countries and linked to different cultures. First mentioned in the 11th century chronicles, Brest was a city in the eastern part of Kievan Rus. It was the first city in Belarus to have received the right to self-government, Magdeburg Law, in 1390. From late Middle Ages to 1795, the city was part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, which later became a part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth from 1569. The first printing house in Belarus was founded in 1553. The unique Brest Bible was published in 1563. In 1795, it was occupied by the Russian Empire. After World War I, the city was conquered by the Second Polish Republic. At that time, Poland gained control of Brest as well as most of today's western Belarus. In 1939, during the invasion of Poland by Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, the city was first captured by the Wehrmacht and soon passed on to the USSR per the German-Soviet Frontier Treaty. In 1941, though, it was retaken by the Germans during Operation Barbarossa. On June 22, 1941, Brest was among the first to take the blow of the German fascist invaders. The city was in the Belarusian SSR until the collapse of the USSR in 1991. Since then, Brest has been part of Belarus. Brest lies astride the Nachodится River, which is known to the citizens as the river. The river flows west through the city, dividing it into north and south, and meets the Bug River in the Brest Fortress. Alright, let me tell you about my trip to Brest. I arrived in Brest on a rainy September afternoon, but I was so excited to be there. I had already booked a hotel before. It was nearby the train station, literally a walking distance. It was drizzling, but I figured it wouldn't be an issue. To get to the city center, I had to walk over this bridge, which was a cool place to see the whole railway station from. A few words about the railway station in Brest. The first building of the Brest railway station was built in 1886 and opened on May 28th of that year. According to some sources, it was done in the presence of Emperor Alexander III. In 1915, during the First World War, the station building was badly damaged during the retreat of the Russian troops. The Polish authorities built a new building. The station was reconstructed between 1953 and 1957. From 2009 to 2014, a large-scale reconstruction took place at the station again. Now the railway station looks like this. It is simply beautiful, both in the daytime and at night. On the way to the hotel, I passed by this newly built bus station. This bus station was opened in 2019, very recently, and it looks really modern, spacious and pretty, both on the outside and inside. What a difference compared to the bus station before. Have a look at how it has changed. Well done, Brest. Really close to the bus station, there is a hotel where I stayed, called Hotel Book, named after the river. It was built in 1958 and it is an amazing place to stay at, somewhat a feeling of the Soviet past. The signature of the hotel is the thematic room of Vladimir Vysotsky, where the beloved musician stopped more than a few times. By the way, the building of this hotel is so similar to the building of Hotel Babrusk in Babrusk. So, what did I do and see in Brest? Let's just take a walk from this Hotel Bug along Lenin Street all the way down to the Mukhavets River. Something that probably exists in every major city in Belarus is Lenin Square. Here it is as well. This one here is Gogol Street, and there is a statue to famous Russian writer Nikolai Gogol. Now, we definitely need to stop here for a second, as this is quite a unique location because of the presence of different statues, reflecting the themes and heroes of Gogol's literature creation. Another thing that makes this place unique is that in 2013, an alley of forged lanterns appeared here. Each lantern on it is a separate art object with its own idea. Just have a look at them. There is even a spot called a place for kisses. At the end of the alley, there is a monument, Millennium of Brest. And there is a guardian angel at the top of the monument. Around, there are different sculptures of iconic personalities of Brest, such as Prince Vladimir Vasilkovich, Grand Duke Vytautas of Lithuania, as well as Radziwill, Nikolai Chorny. There are also interesting bas reliefs on the pedestal of the monument. This one shows that the city is protected by guardian angels. Further is the image of ancient times. Here is a struggle to join the Kiev Principality. This is the one when Brest was attacked on June 22, 1941. If curious, one who understands Belarusian can read about some important historical facts about the development of the city of Brest. The timeline presented here captures the most significant facts throughout the history of the city, all the way from the 11th century until the present day. Alright, let's get back to our Lenin Street and continue to walk there. Now we are passing by the Brest Drama Theatre. It was built in 1944 and it's one of the most popular theaters in Belarus. Across from the theater, there is a puppet theater, founded in 1963. It has a really interesting shape and look from the outside. Okay, let's keep walking further. It's amazing how old buildings like this one in the city center add up to a certain charm of Brest. There are actually quite a few green areas around Brest, and no wonder, because apparently it is trying to regain its fame for being the greenest town in Belarus. Further on the same street, we'll see the Museum of Saved Artistic Values. It is unique in its kind. The museum retains objects and works of art of cultural value confiscated by customs officers when attempting to illegally export them abroad. The museum exposition is Russian icon painting, jewelry art, paintings, and so on. Across from the museum, there is a secondary school, and not far from it, you'll see a students' hostel that belongs to one of the Brest universities. Now we are crossing Masharov Avenue, and on the right there is a city garden. It is a beautiful, quiet place next to the Muhavets River. I like how cozy they made it here. And one interesting thing here, on the benches you will see different inspirational quotes. This one here says, "If everyone makes at least one person happy, everyone will be happy." What a great reminder, isn't it? And here is a bench that says, "Let's make up." Well, make friends again. From this spot here, you can also see the recently built the House of Justice. So let's have a look at the river. There is a nice walking area at the river, perfect for a stroll. You'll also find a couple of restaurants here, including this one with the Uzbeki cuisine. Our next stop, right near the fortress, is this Brest Railway Museum, which was opened in 2002. It is also called the Brest Museum of Rail Equipment, and it is the first and only outdoor railway museum in Belarus. It is a popular stop for tourists. The museum's rail collection consists of 56 rolling stock items that are all open for visitor interaction and exploration. The museum hosts an array of various locomotives, from cargo to passenger cars, dating back to the 1900s. Among the stock are models such as steam engines, steam cranes, retro passenger cars, diesel-electric engines, and so on. Brest Fortress is located very close to the museum. Let's walk there. There is also a bus stop called the Fortress, so it's easy to reach this historical place by public transport. The Brest Fortress is one of the most important Great Patriotic War monuments. The fortress is also a masterpiece of military engineering as well as an outstanding work of art. The Brest Fortress has sustained its original outline of a star-shaped fortification since its construction in the early 19th century. The citadel, the core of the fortress, was on the central island formed by the Buk River and the two branches of the Mohavets River. The island was skirted by a ring of a two-storied barrack with 4 semi-towers. The 1.8-kilometer-long barrack comprised 500 rooms to accommodate 12,000 soldiers within thick walls built from super-strong red bricks. Originally, there were 4 gates to enter the citadel. At dawn, on June 22, 1941, the Brest Fortress received the first blow from the fascist invaders. The garrison, with its initial composition of 9,000 people, held the defense for more than a month, completely surrounded by a German army of about 17,000 people. The fortress was heavily damaged during the course of World War II, and some parts of it were never restored. On May 8, 1965, the Brest Fortress was awarded the title of Hero Fortress. There is a lump in the throat, and tears come as soon as you hear the beats of the metronome and the 1941 radio message, "Moscow is speaking," followed by the song "Get Up, the Great Country." Yes, the energy of those tragic and heroic events will be felt here for a very, very long time. One of the touching sculptures is the sculptural composition Thirst, the figure of a Soviet soldier who reaches for the water with his helmet. The surviving defenders of the Brest Fortress said that the most painful thing was the lack of drinking water. One of the dramatic pages of the defense of the Brest Fortress is an acute shortage of water. The plumbing was disabled on the very first day of the war, and the summer that year was unusually hot. Puffs of smoke and gunpowder filled the horizon. Many fighters and commanders died trying to get the precious drops. After the war, broken helmets, mugs, and the remains of the dead were found on the banks of the rivers. The creators of the memorial, knowing about this tragedy, decided to tell about it using the skills of a sculptor. The figure of a soldier crawling towards the water with a helmet in hand does not leave anyone indifferent. In the center of the memorial, there is the main monument, Courage. The facial expression says it all. On the reverse side of it, there are relief compositions telling about individual episodes of the heroic defense of the fortress. These are the ruins of the former engineering department, and next to these ruins the eternal flame is burning. There are words written next to the flame. They stood to death. Glory to the heroes. Nearby there is a ground of hero cities with capsules filled with the earth of those cities. Among these hero cities are Moscow, Leningrad, Volgograd, Kiev, Minsk, Odessa, Sevastopol, Novorossiysk, Kerch, Tula, Murmansk, and Smolensk. One of the main elements of the memorial is a 100-meter obelisk symbolizing victory over the enemy, eternal glory to the heroic defenders of the fortress. Next to this obelisk there is a tribune and a 3-tiered necropolis where the remains of 850 people are buried, and the names of 224 soldiers are engraved on the memorial plates. On the territory of the citadel, the St. Nicholas Garrison Church was restored. Here on the territory you can also find arm exhibits. The Holmsk Gate was one of the 4 gates of the ring barracks leading to the citadel of the Brest Fortress. The gate on the outer facade was decorated with turrets, which have been partially preserved to this day, as they were badly damaged during the defense of the Brest Fortress at the beginning of the Great Patriotic War. The red bricks of the Holm's Gate retain traces of bullets and shells. Today, this gate is a symbol of the Brest Fortress. On the wall of the gate, there is a memorial plaque to Fomin. Once you cross the river, you will see this museum on the right. This is Brestskaya Archaeological Museum centered around an archaeological site, displaying an authentic East Slavic wooden town dating back to the 13th century. Founded in 1972, it was opened to visitors on March 2, 1982. The main exposition of the museum is an archaeological site. At a depth of 4 meters, there is a part of the handicraft quarter, 28 wooden residential and utility buildings of the 13th century, 2 street pavements, a palisade. Unique finds are a bone finger of a chess king, a boxwood comb with 13 Cyrillic letters carved out, and a Bresti ring. In this same area here, you will find the South Gate and a monastery for women. There is one more museum on the territory of the citadel, Museum of Defense of the Brest Fortress. It has some truly powerful exhibits and won't leave anyone indifferent. This Brest Fortress memorial complex is located on a large territory, and one would need a day to spend here, walk around, visit the museums, and just reflect on what happened here 80 plus years ago. Sometimes I wonder whether there are still trees that witnessed that terrible time. The Brest Fortress is also important to me, as my dad visited about 40 years ago, and I wanted to be at the same places where he was and try to recreate the pictures that he took. Just outside the memorial complex, I found this bridge from where you get a nice view. It's time to head back to the city. Here we are crossing the rail tracks that bring us to that railway museum, remember? I would suggest walking back from the fortress along Gogol Street. This is where we'll find a park, the city park, which is quite big, I must say. It has different amusement activities, plenty of nature, and even these cute statues made of wood. I like this part here called Heaven Corner, or Paradise. In Brest, you'll also find a number of beautiful churches. Holy Resurrection Cathedral, Cathedral of St. Simeon, St. Nicholas Brotherly Church, and near the St. Nicholas Brotherly Church you will see Belarusian State University named after Alexander Pushkin, and next to it there is a winter garden. This is also the beginning of the pedestrian street Sovetskaya. On the way there, I spotted another cool statue with cats this time. I guess statues are really a Brest thing. So, Sovetskaya Street. It goes without saying that the original name of the street was completely different. At different times it was called the Millionная, the police officer, wore the name of Jersey, Dombrovsky, and even sounded very German, Generalstrasse. Only in 1944 it acquired its current name, the Sovetskaya. Being a typical historical part of the city, it is mostly pedestrian. Sovetskaya Street here is known far beyond Brest, not only thanks to the beautiful architecture, for which it is called proudly Brest Arbat, but also a wonderful tradition of lighting lanterns every evening. The lamplighter, dressed in the form of Peter's times, manually lights and extinguishes every street lamp on Sovetskaya Street. It is only part of the street, though, where this is done, but still you won't see it anywhere else in Belarus. This was such a wonderful end of my short visit to Brest, but I loved it so much. By the way, don't forget to visit Belarusская Pusha, which is near Brest. It is one of the last and largest remaining parts of the immense primeval forest that once stretched across the European plain. I hope you enjoyed this video about Brest, the hero city. On my channel, I post videos about my travels around different countries. Don't forget to subscribe to see more.